I'd like to call to order the McKinney chapter Sons of the American Revolution November meeting. Thank you all for coming. Would you please stand for the invitation and chaplain Paul Andreessen. Let's see. Hold on.
Let us pray. Direct us, O Lord, in all of our doings, that with thy most gracious favor, and further us with thy continual help, that in all our works begun, continued, and ended in thee, and especially in the program and activities of the Sons of the American Revolution, we may glorify thy holy name, and finally by thy mercy, obtain everlasting life. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Paul. And at this time, we will have the pledges. Please join me in the pledge. Massey. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Now, pledge the Texas flag. Peter Ford, will you lead us, please? And Blah, if you please lead us.
Yes.
In our SAR pledge.
We, the descendants of the United States of America, we reaffirm our faith in the principle of liberty and our constituted work of it, and solemnly pledge
And Tom Belton, our.
Yep, this is the new thing they've asked us to add, by the way, the mission statement, so it'll be the first time, so see how it goes. The Sons of the American Revolution honors
Please be seated. Thank you all for coming this evening. At this time, we'll have the self-introductions, and if you wouldn't mind, we have a lot of guests here tonight. We're excited to have each of y'all here. If you could please introduce yourself, which chapter you're from, and if you're an officer in the chapter or statewide.
Hey, I'm Tom Wilson. I'm the Vice President of Programs in the McKinney chapter, and I'm also the District 11 Vice President.
Bill Taylor, McKinney chapter, here with my wife, Cheryl. We're looking forward to a great evening.
Jerry Kinney, McKinney chapter, here tonight with my son Reed, who we're going to induct, my daughter-in-law Jessica, and my wife Tracy Kinney.
I'm Joe Chenoweth, member of this chapter, and I live in Allen.
Good evening. I'm Pete McClellan. I'm the Sergeant at Arms for the chapter and also the Children of the American Revolution liaison. And brought my wife Downing with me tonight. We're from McKinney.
George Bradford, McKinney chapter, my wife George.
Clark Morgan, McKinney chapter, and my wife Sandy.
Father Ross, be inducted to the McKinney chapter.
Tracy Pounders, and I'm a member of the Dallas, McKinney, and Red River chapters, and I'm currently serving as your Texas Society President-elect.
Hi, Brent Harshman is my name. I'm with the Dallas chapter. I serve as the historian there.
Hi, Tom Manafos, I'm a member of this chapter in Dallas and Eastport Trinity and Ellis County. I don't know how many of this, and I'm Vice President of Programs for Dallas, and I'm also the District 6 Vice President.
I'm Ted Wilson, Edmund Terrell, dual member with McKinney.
E.O. Holden, member of Edmund Terrell, chapter registrar, and genealogy for North Texas, and a dual member here in McKinney.
Michael Good, past president, Eastport Trinity, down in Rockwall.
Kevin Ennis, Plano chapter, VP of Metals and Woods there. Matt Ryan, this is my first meeting, my application.
Your board, new chapter and the treasurer here.
Bill Watts, member of a lot of chapters.
Dan Hamilton, president of the Arlington chapter. David Cook, Denver chapter.
Annetta Cook, Cross Timbers DAR chapter, Louisville.
Nathan White, member of the McKinney chapter, my wife Wanda, past everything. Chapter, state, national.
John Greer, I am McKinney, Dallas, Edmund Terrell, and the New Ellis County chapter. I am the state chairman of the Notable Texas Compatriot, and also the Flag and Public Service Committee chair.
And I'm John Anderson. Thank you all so much for inviting me to be here tonight. I'm from the Arlington chapter, the Fort Worth chapter, and your state is Georgia. And I have my wife Meg with me.
I'm Gary Townsend, member of this chapter. This is my wife Courtney. She's a DAR.
Paul Andreessen, member of this chapter.
I'm John Ray. I'm a member of McKinney chapter and most of the rest of them around Dallas, Fort Worth, and I'm the assistant state secretary.
I'm Sam Massey, member of the Paul Carrington chapter, and John McAdam chapter, and also your state president.
Bob Colby, McKinney and Color Guard commander for the chapter.
Mark Harrison, President Dallas chapter, dual member of McKinney, and I'm VP Americanism Medals, Contests and Awards for the state.
Steve Hall, Major KM Van Zandt chapter. I'm from Fort Worth.
Foster Secretary, McKinney chapter, and online we have Charles Havey, Carrie Barnett, and Tom Foster.
I'm Mark McCraw, McKinney, current president of the McKinney chapter. This time we will turn over to Tom for a short comment.
Okay. This is our historical moment for November 16th. On November the 10th, 1782, the last battle of the American Revolution is fought as American militiamen attacked Shawnee villages near Chillicothe, Ohio, in retaliation for the attacks by loyalists and Indians against Sandusky, Ohio, Lexington, Kentucky, and other places. General George Rogers Clark and over 1,000 militiamen on horseback attacked and burned several Shawnee villages and defeated them decisively. Contrary to the understanding of many Americans, the surrender of the British General Charles Cornwallis, Yorktown, Virginia, in October 1781 did not end the Revolutionary War. It was a pivotal moment, but hostilities continued for 2 more years And a preliminary peace treaty was not signed until November 20th, 1782. More than 2 years after Cornwallis retired. Or, well, I'm sorry, not retired, surrendered. But he may have retired after that too. Okay, when Cornwallis surrendered, the British still had tens of thousands of soldiers on the continent. In New York, the Carolinas, Georgia, and West Indies, Canada, and on the western frontier. There were numerous conflicts with the British after Cornwallis' surrender, but even more so with the Indian allies on the frontier and in the back country civil war between the Patriots and the Loyalists in the South. In fact, more Americans died in the fighting after Cornwallis' surrender than in the whole first year of the war. That was sort of shocking to me. That included Battle of Bunker Hill, Concord, and Lexington and Quebec. So that's your historical moment. You want to, yeah.
I want to make one quick comment. I remember this may have been, I don't know how many years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago that I went to a meeting and Pete McClellan and Judge White were there, and there was maybe 4 or 5 people that were getting the chapter going again. So I'm very thankful as I stand here to see so many people from across the state to be here. So thank you. And Judge White, if you can come up and introduce one of our many guest speakers.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Well, as Mark's just said, and I was going to comment on this too. 7 years ago, this chapter was on the chopping block, as it were, for the state society. They didn't think that this chapter had a future, and I think that you can tell from tonight and the new members that we've taken in over the years that that was short-sighted. This afternoon, we marked the grave of a McKinneyite who was state president in 1940-41, member of the Dallas chapter, and he's buried at Pecan Grove, and so we marked his grave, and he was state president before I even was born. That was about 1940. He was state president. I came along as state president in 2001, 2002, and now I'm pleased to introduce our president of the Texas Society here for 2022, 23, 24. Sam Massey, say, come on up, Sam. Sam was a state secretary and probably had a greater knowledge of the number of applications and number of inquiries of people who are interested in joining the Sons of the American Revolution, particularly the McKinney chapter, during his time as state secretary, because he would continuously provide those names to us. And some of you may have gotten something from him early on, telling you that your name had been forwarded to the McKinney chapter. But as Sam mentioned, he's a member of the Paul Carrington chapter, which is the Houston, for those of you who are not familiar with where the names and fit with the cities. The Paul Carrington chapter is the chapter in Houston proper and is a very large chapter. I think it's just second only probably to the Dallas chapter. I'm not sure which is the larger of the two. But he's moved to Huntsville, and Sam, all I can tell you is you're facing the same sort of thing we faced here 7 years ago, and that is rehabilitating or restoring a chapter in Huntsville. And you can see what gratification it is for those of us who have been around at least for 7 years and have seen what has happened here. But Sam is a veteran of several years and several offices within the state society. He is extremely well qualified for his position as state president, doing a great job. And we're delighted to have you here with us tonight to address this very large group. And you have participated in the marking of past President Horace Eller's gravesite, great marker in the Pecan Grove Cemetery. So, and thank you for being here. It's my pleasure to introduce Sam Massey.
Thank you, Nathan. Just a here.
Okay.
So I only have 60 slides, so. Just kidding. So you guys kind of stole my thunder through part of this. I was pleased to see that that you not only knew that we have a mission statement, but that you all recited it together. This is a really wonderful thing that you guys are doing to get that on your radar screen and be learning it, putting it in your mind. So when someone asks you, what is SAR, you have an answer. So I'm not going to go through each of my slides. You guys obviously know how to grow a chapter. You're doing that now. But relevance, visibility, relationships, and trust, those are the building blocks. And you do know we have a mission statement. You'll notice some QR codes on the slides. If you want to get to any of the links, you're welcome to use your camera. Some of you guys know how to use that or have kids that know how to use it. One of the things that really helps us with visibility is, of course, our color guard being out there. But also as we attend celebrations in the community, in our plain clothes, we have opportunity, especially if you wear a lapel pin that has Texas SAR on it, or if you wear anything, any type of, your rosette is a great thing to wear to let people know. Of course, participating in parades, I'm preaching to the choir to this group. You guys are involved presenting flag certificates. John, is that a good thing to do? There you go. So I've actually, and John's been very encouraging to me. So I actually have a flag certificate here that I've prepared, and I'm going to present to my hotel tomorrow morning, where I'm staying tonight. And you'll notice flags all over, up and down the freeways. There's all kinds of places you could present those to. I also encourage you to go back to family reunions, school reunions, weddings, birthdays. Actually, funerals is a good place to also find new members, find people who may potentially be interested, and then getting the word out, emails, sending things to prospects and other organizations, newspaper announcements. So I hope this event today was in the newspaper or maybe in, best bets for your community. Those are a lot of good things to do. I'll be at the end of these slides in just a minute, but this link here, this is actually an SAR social media best practices that Tom Jackson, our very own from Texas, as well as Jim Kuykendall have been working on, and this is published at the national level. So if you're interested in getting your identity for your chapter out via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all kinds of mediums, they have some advice there. YouTube, you saw some videos that I had playing there. Those were actually that was actually a Google Photos slide deck that John Anderson had created from this recent event in Arkansas, where I think 4 or 5 members from Texas went, and this was a grave marking in Arkansas. I was with the president of, I say with in a virtual sense. I was with the Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri presidents the other night, and all they could talk about was Texas SAR color guard. Color guard is doing an excellent job across the nation, but Texas leads the pack. And of course, working with our friends and family, local organizations, those are all places we can get contacts for future members. Is anybody here a member of the Collin County Genealogical Society? There we go, Uno, number one. So this is a great place. I'm a member of the Walker County Historic Genealogical Society. I usually take my PC in there and don't pay attention to anything that's said unless it piques my interest, and then I chime in. But I've found some really neat things, and one of those is the tool Family Search. If you've never used Family Search before, it's got some great in-home activities for kids, things you can do with children. This is something that parents and school teachers can do to help kids focus and learn a little more about their own personal history, whether it involves a patriot or not. So I learned that in that meeting. So I encourage you to look for information. This is something I've recently been using. Does anybody know what Audible is? Yeah. So I mean, if you did the CDs or the cassette tapes when you're driving your car, Audible is the new replacement. So you can actually listen to an event live, and you don't. Oops, I got a sign on. Yeah, there's security on everything now. But anyway, I've been listening to a lot of books as I make my travels across Texas about the American Revolution, things that I probably wouldn't read if I was sitting at home. But in the car, it's a great way to pass time. Just to give you an update on Texas, so we're 2,553 members across the state, 216 junior, 269 perpetual, 242 members so far this year. And we hit the big 5-0. We have 50 chapters now in Texas with Waxahachie and San Angelo. Those have both been passed and are opened at the Board of Managers meeting. And then we have ceremonies for those coming up. So November 25th for Waxahachie, and February we're planning San Angelo. You guys have seen Richard Zunkwit's email about the monument. We're really excited about this. National is also very excited about this. It's going to be in the Texas State Cemetery. Has everybody already seen all these slides? Okay, I'll keep going. So the Texas State Cemetery is an awesome place if you get a chance to visit. This road down the middle, you think, oh, it's a very nice road. It's actually a state highway. That is how they convinced. That's how they couldn't get anybody to do the mowing at the state cemetery. So I forget who it was. It may have been Bob Bullock. He said, well, let's just put a state highway down the center, and that way the highway department has to take care of it. So clever text. So here's the state capitol over here in blue, and here's the state cemetery on the other side of the interstate there. And this is where we're going to put our monument. If you know the Rose Gate, that's 11th Street over here in Navajo Street at the top. And this little inset here is where our monument's going to be. There you go. It's a little better outline. Here's a few pictures of the space that we're going to be at. And here's the DAR monument, the CAR bench. We're going to not only do a monument, but we're also doing an SAR bench. So we're really excited about that. The committee has been working hard. Our estimate for the cost, including benches, $55,000. You think, oh man, that's a ton of money. I mean, how long does it take to raise that? Well, we've been working since April. We've got pledges of $40,000 already. So that includes national, and they have given us a grant of $15,000. We also have 20,000 from about 20,000 from members. So we're really excited about this. In response to this good news that we're, since April, I mean, this is a very quick time to raise money. Since April, we've raised a lot of money, but in response to that, we had a record number of Texas SAR or any SAR members being pinned as George Washington Fellows. We had 13 members pinned as George Washington Fellows in one evening. So if you want to know more about the George Washington Fellow, you can, again, a QR code here, but it's $1,000 to be a George Washington Fellow. You don't have to pay it all at once. You can pay it over time. It's really neat because they use that money for underfunded national projects as well as offer grants to good, worthwhile projects that aren't fully funded yet.
I wonder how many George Washington fellows we have here tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Raise your hand if you are a George Washington Fellow. Awesome, awesome. If McKinney would like to challenge the record set last at the BOM, we had 13. So if we can get 14 tonight, we will. Seriously, it is really a neat thing. These are just some references for the state cemetery. Again, there's a QR code that you can get to my slide deck here, but the project went back one direction. So there are many patriots buried in Texas. I don't remember, but Bill, do you remember the number now that we've sort of determined?
Well, including the Spanish and French, we've got close to 90.
90, okay. So it's really exciting, and this is a great opportunity if we can find those locations. If we can't find the graves, we'll do markers or cenotaphs for them. Another neat program that's going on right now. See, this works. So is the Henry Rifle program. So what they're doing is they're going to make a rifle for different events commemorating the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. So the first one is the Boston Tea Party, and this is number 61 in the production. I was number 17 to buy one, but they mixed it up in shipping, so I got number 61. But you can buy these. You can only get them through Bass Pro Shops. That's the SKU number, but they're over $1,000. But you can imagine these will be quite collectible someday down the road. So I haven't taken that one out of the plastic yet, but if anybody's really interested in one, I'll show you a little bit. Just so you're aware, we're planning to host Congress. We put in a bid for 2028. We missed it. They didn't give it to us. So we're hoping 2029. 2029 is supposed to be a sort of a landmark year for San Antonio. That's where we're planning to have it. So Tom Jackson and the team are working on that. The other long-term thing is a statue for Bernardo de Galvez. This was started over 10 years ago by the Galvez chapter. The budget on this is significantly more than money, but you can give for this project when you pay your dues. When you pay your dues. Just a reminder to pay your dues. We do have our 250th anniversary coming up. So as I mentioned, and so events will start to happen more often. I saw the 250 flag today at the cemetery. That's great. You guys have that and are using it. I encourage you to work with veterans organizations, lineage organizations, Chamber of Commerce, county headquarters, all different people. Get those guys involved, get them excited about 250. We all should be excited. Students should be excited. We should really promote this. I learned this just the other day. My wife's a member of the Huguenot Society, founders of Mannequin, and she was trying to find old members, people who are not answering emails anymore. We started using this, been verified. Has anybody else used this before? It's really cool. So it's not cheap, but it works. We do have also Spanish members that we can pull in now. There's a lot of work toward that, as Bill mentioned. And then this one, again, relatives around me. Anybody have relatives around me on your phone? You know this? Oh, yeah, yeah. Meg has it. So this is a really neat
You
app.
better be my cousin though.
Oh, you're my cousin, I'm certain of it. So this is, I promise, this, I think this is my last slide, yeah, almost last. So this is a really neat app. And on the app, you just put in basically your parents and back to, you know, at least a few people who have passed away, and the tool does everything else. It puts in all, I mean, you need to verify, you need to make sure it's correct. But once you do that, then there's a little button that says relatives around me. You tap that button and then you see scan for friends. What this does is it takes my family tree. It's got my Bluetooth connected. And then when I hit that button, it starts scanning the room. And look at there. There is Meg Anderson, and she is my 8th cousin.
Like this.
So this, I was in a room of, I think it was probably like 3,000 people in Washington DC this summer. And Pamela Wright put this app up on the screen. She put a QR code up like this. She had arranged for the maker of the app to come to the event. And so he had made special software. So in the room, you find your cousins. So Meg and I are related through John Dury, and
My side looks good.
yeah, mine is too. So we're cousins. So I encourage you to use this just amongst your friends. Richard Dunquist is a cousin of mine. Tom Lawrence is a cousin. Mickey Joe's a cousin. I can't tell you how many cousins I have in SAR, and it really helps when you're in traffic, because you know you're just honking at your. So again, if I didn't mention, pay your dues, but there is a little bonus this year. There's no fee for PayPal, so that was a big celebration we had. So that's the end of my slides. Any questions for me about Texas SAR, the state of things?
Switch.
Yeah.
I was telling you that we have a patriot buried in Collin County. John Aston in the DAR chapter here in McKinney is named John Aston chapter.
Oh, yes, right.
And it's well marked. It's been it's overlooking a long lake, but that's the only one we're aware of here in Collin County.
Okay. Well, the tool has other features, and amongst those are to look for famous relatives or famous ancestors. And so I was with a couple the other night. He was very interested in his ancestry. It's a couple church. She was not interested at all. We put her stuff in 10 minutes. She found out she would qualify for the Mayflower Society.
Wow.
So I encourage you to again, cherish your history, share stories, encourage others to share stories, teach kids to embrace their ancestry, no matter who they are. That's my, any other questions? Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
Oh, here's like.
This?
No, that's not.
Mike.
Yeah, I'm going to.
You're up. Okay.
Let me turn it over to you.
Oh, okay. So what we're gonna do next is we have several medals and certificates to give out. And some of these are basically are certificates that Sam is the level at which we have to have someone to give them to the people here. So that's why there's another reason why there are a lot of people here. So anyway, so I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give this to you.
Okay.
And then here's your script. Here's the script for the first one.
Okay. The Patriot Grave marking medal recognizes both the past efforts to identify and report data on Revolutionary War graves and to encourage new efforts to identify graves. The data generated by these efforts will meet educational objectives by continuing to build and improve the existing database on these patriots by listing their final resting places. It meets historical objectives by providing data to potential members and by identifying these significant places so that we may not be lost to future, so that they may not be lost to future generations. In order to receive this medal, the compatriot member must participate in at least 15 grave marking events. At this time, we would like to call forward compatriots to join us up here. Michael Good. T.L. Holden. Van Fossen. And Bill Evans.
Now make sure you take two of Michael.
I'm big on that. Two for T.O. T.O. goes two. He has the Patriot Great Martin Medal as well as the compatriot.
And I just found out I was your post.
Oh.
I can see where this is going. You and Meg, you told me something tonight.
Thank you for doing Tom and Boston. I think so. Here's your medal. Thanks. All right, two for Bill. Patriot Grave and Patriot. Thank you. You made me look good. Congratulations, guys. I'd like to come back next year and get
Okay, well, let's get a picture.
You want to get a picture up here?
Getting there. This there. We'll call it spam.
Yeah. Thank you.
I did, not on the one.
Bill, we didn't mad at you if I didn't get one. Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, the next one.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
All right. The bronze color guard medal is for service at the state or chapter level. Each medal is awarded for at least 3 years of service at the applicable level. To earn SAR Bronze Color Guard Medal, a color guardsman must procure at least 300 points by participating in uniform at qualifying chapter and state color guard events. The color guardsman earns 5 points for his participation in uniform at each chapter event, and then 10 points for his participation in uniform at a state event. At this time, we'd like to call forward Mark Harrison, Brent Harshman, and Tom Van Vossen.
Okay.
There you go. No, exactly. Yeah, you'll get up here. Oh, there. So the Liberty Medal is a national SAR medal awarded to a compatriot for recognition of an outstanding service in the recruitment of new members. The medal is awarded to a compatriot who has sponsored 10 new members. A bronze oak leaf cluster may be presented for each additional 10 new members sponsored by the Liberty Medal holder. I'd like to ask former President General Nathan White to please join me.
Thank you very
I
much.
won't try to pin it on you.
Very good, thank you.
Put it, hold it in front of you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Steve, I think the word.
I think this is about 30.
There you go, man.
One of the gentlemen that we're going to induct tonight, Morgan. Nathan's the one, telling us right on our Bart.
That's right.
Nathan's the one that talked to Bart at a genealogy society meeting about
Collin County Gene.
initially, and there, and here he is.
Your words.
Okay. I think this is. Which one is this? Yeah, that's right down here. So we're down.
We'll do.
Yep, thanks.
Okay.
Oh, I've got some. That's what it is. Yeah, okay, it's good, it's good, it's good. Okay, I've got a couple of these that I collected at our second meeting in College Station that I want to hand out to some people. Yeah. Okay, would, I don't know, is John Finley here? Nope. Okay, let's see. Jerry Kinney, come up. Bob Milweed. And Aiden Clyde. Nathan, could you come up and get this for your son, grandson? Okay, so what this is about is, this is a certificate for the National Live Membership Program, okay? So each one of these two gentlemen and his grandson basically signed up and paid their dues for life. It's basically what it is, right, Nathan? So, thank you for doing that.
In Texas, you know, everything's a little bit bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
In other states, it's called a life membership program. In Texas, it's perpetual membership.
See here. There you go. Thank you, sir.
The advantage for you, if you're a perpetual member, then you don't ever have to pay dues and inflation can't catch up.
I'm gonna give these all out and we can take a through the picture here. There's one for your grandson. Okay.
And this camera,
Oh, yeah,
thank you.
sorry, Wanda. Okay, thank you, guys, appreciate that.
Sir, appreciate it.
Yep. And then one other I wanted to tell you, the chapter, and I have it up here, and I keep all these in the notebook. Probably, maybe at our Christmas party, I'll bring it up with all the certificates we did. But this one's, basically the, Partners in Patriotism Medal certificate that was given to the McKinney chapter, as a part of their patriotic outreach during 2022 and 2023. Thanks, guys. We did a good job there. Thank you, Don. Thanks, all. The Christmas party on Friday. Okay, so let's see. I think that's all of mine. Where are we now?
We're down to.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
There was somebody back there from Denton McKinney.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have a life member certificate for one of your members, if you could get it from me when this is over, I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, so now we're to announcements and old business. So I'll open up to the floor. Does anyone have any? I know we've got some things on the back of our program that are upcoming. Does anyone else from the floor have any announcements, any old business or comments on anything? Yes, sir.
I have a question, I don't know if this is the appropriate time.
No, it's appropriate. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
But would y'all describe your Christmas party and enlighten these other chapters such as mine that doesn't have Christmas party? Tell me about it.
Yes, so usually at our Christmas party, we try to have it at someone's house. This year will be at Pete McClellan's house again. People will bring some type of food. We've had at Judge White's house in the past. We don't have that much of a formal meeting, but we just have a fellowship essentially. And sometimes we'll go back through the past year and talk generally about certain things, but not as much of a formal meeting. Yes, sir.
Ben Franklin will attend the meeting.
You gave it away.
He was invited by Tom.
Wonderful. We'd love to have Ben Franklin there.
I told him it was just guess who's coming to dinner.
Bill the beans. Oh, my God.
But yeah, our Christmas meetings, they're a lot of fun, but they're usually at someone's house.
Oh, you thought, it's you, right? Oh, Ben, that's right.
And Ben has two things that I know you've never heard of.
I know. You told me one of them today.
No.
No, I didn't.
Two things that people don't know about.
And we're saving it for the meeting, right?
I'm
December,
sorry?
saving it for the December meeting.
Maybe for your meeting.
Yes, sir. That's right.
It's, since we have a number of folks here who are members, dual members and so forth of the McKinney chapter who may not know where Pete lived.
Well.
Yes, and it is on the back of your program here, has his address. So and that will be on December the 14th.
And I'll send out a message to everybody talking about it. It's like a potluck dinner, the chapter pays for the meat. And everybody bring your, salad, desserts, hors d'oeuvres, desserts. Did I mention desserts?
We would like to get a count of how many
Yes.
people are thinking about attending, so that we have sufficient chairs available to accommodate everyone.
So I'll be sending that out shortly.
Any other upcoming events that may be relevant or chapters? All right, now for the new member inductions. If let me turn that over to our state president, Mr. Massey.
Will the following compatriots, along with a specific person, if you have one that you would like to pin your membership with, please join me as I call your name. Reed J. Kinney, John B. Morgan, Boston D. Ross, and Gary L. Townsend. Yeah, you can line up right here in front of the podium there. Yeah. There you go. Good. Okay. Please raise your right hand. For those of you who are wearing it. Compatriots, do you as a descendant of one of the patriots and heroes of the American Revolution reaffirm your ancestors' faith in the principles of liberty in our constitutional republic?
Yes. Yes.
And will you pledge to support the National Society Sons of the American Revolution?
Yes.
I now take great pleasure in presenting you with your membership certificate.
Camera.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. We have pinners.
Yeah.
So this rosette is the official recognition emblem of the Sons of the American Revolution. You can come up there. You come over here and pin them on. You got to choose the right person.
Well, this is, I'm not gonna be saying that. Yeah, but if you really want to do it right, you put like this and jam it in.
It's blue and buff colors represent the colors of the uniform worn by George Washington. Wear it proudly. Compatriots, we welcome you to the McKinney chapter, and we ask that you work with us to fulfill the purposes and objectives of the Sons of the American Revolution. At this time, I'd like to invite each of you to address our members and present whatever thoughts you may have.
My name is Gary Townsend. I live here in McKinney. This is my wife Courtney. She's a member of the DAR here in McKinney. The past few nights, I've been watching a program on Fox Business Network called The Legend and Lies of the Patriots. I've seen this program a half a dozen times, and every time I watch it, I learn something. I hear something that I've never known before. I'm absolutely amazed at our founding fathers. What great patriots they were. My patriot is Jonathan Guernsey. He was born February 28, 1729 in Milford, Connecticut. He died April 10th, 1805 in Watertown, Connecticut. He was 76 years old. His wife was Desiree Bronson. They had one son, Daniel Guernsey, who was also a patriot. He served in Hall's regiment. He also served in the French and Indian Wars. My patriot, Jonathan Guernsey, my 6th great grandfather.
My patriot ancestor is Elliot Stetson Jr. He was born in April of 1750 in Abington, Massachusetts. He died April 16, 1798. And he got married to Ruth Gurney. But I found a cousin here for a second. In August of 1775. He marched on April 20th to Marshfield, Massachusetts, which was at the time a Loyalist stronghold in response to the alarm of April 19th.
My name is Reed. My patriot ancestor is Thomas Honeywell. And I have my dad here, who's a member, to help me with some info about him. He's our family sort of historian and genealogist, and he's the reason why I'm so excited to be here today.
So Reed's brother will be inducted in the first quarter next year. Reed's gonna do this for his brother Spencer when we induct him. So our primary ancestor is Thomas Honeywell. And we brought the rubbing of the grave we did when Reed's older sister got us started. She's a DAR member. And she's the one that did the heavy lifting to get us started in our ancestry. And I must tell you, when we climbed the hill at Pierce Cemetery in Solon, Maine, off of the old Canada Highway overlooking the Kennebec River, at the top of the clearing is this grave with a SAR bronze medallion and a flag. And it was pretty emotional for both of us to stand there on a cool fall morning in Maine, just us. The sun kind of came out, and it was really something to stand that close to our patriot ancestor. What an honor. The other thing, to your point, what strikes me about all of our research about Thomas Honeywell is he was a farmer, not very well off, from a large family. He answered the call in 1777. He served for his 3 years. He was a captured POW held in Philadelphia. He was exchanged in a skirmish, and then went on, when he should have been done and ready to go home, went on to fight, in his words, in both of the battles of the taking of Burgoyne. When that was over, he marched back home with a friend from his unit and became a farmer again. You know, at the end of his life in Moscow, Maine, when he died, he had very little, and so he asked the government for help. And his pension documents are really revealing about sort of regular person doing their duty. So we're very proud to be here. I'm proud that we're going to add Reed, his brother Spencer, my cousin Scott Spencer, and his son Connor will all be done hopefully at the beginning of next year on Thomas Honeywell.
Thank you guys again.
Hi, Tom told me to hold this down to less than 10 minutes, so. Tom, if you get through this before I get through talking, just let me know.
Okay, I'll give you the sign.
My ancestor was Aaron Levi Benny, and he was born 16th of April 1747 in Mount Joy Township in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. When he was 22 years old, he married a girl from the neighboring farm, and they moved to Duncan Creek, which was in the Tryon district of North Carolina. It's modern day Rutherford County. He joined the militia. He was commissioned a lieutenant in the Tryon militia, and in 1775, and he was an Indian fighter to begin with, and as most of you know, the South was quite a lot different than the North in the Revolution. The British controlled, as far as I know, all the seaports from Florida all the way to Maine in 1776. And one battle that my ancestor was in that is not very well known, Ramser's Mill, and it's in North Carolina between Charlotte and Asheville. And there was a gathering of Tories, about 12 or 1300 of them, around this mill, and General Rutherford ordered Aaron's unit to go down there, and they had about 200 patriots to defeat 1,300 Tories. And Isaac Shelby from the Over Mountain group up in Sycamore Shoals and Watauga Valley brought 100 men down there, so they had the overwhelming majority of 300. And it was a real brutal battle. Some of the people that showed up didn't have muskets. They brought clubs and axes, and they were actually brother against brother, and several brothers killed the other brother. And amazingly, 300 patriots defeated the 1,400 Tories. And that was in April of 1780. Well, the British thought they had the South controlled, because a lot of the patriots who had left the South and gone back to England had put the word out that the Tories were quite a lot more popular, or had more of them at the South than they actually had. So when Ramsford Mill battle happened, it outraged Cornwallis, and he put a fellow named Patrick Ferguson in charge of all the Tory militia in the South. And he was gathering troops up through that area between Charlotte and Asheville. And General Rutherford sent Aaron DeVinny, my ancestor, down to spy on them and try to find out their strength and where they were, because Ferguson had sent word up to the Over Mountain people up in eastern Tennessee that if they didn't desist, he was going to come up, march up there with his army and hang all the leaders and burn all the cabins and destroy all the crops. Well, that sort of didn't set well Shelby and John Severe. So they wanted to know where he was. They were going to come down and tend to him. And so my ancestor went down there, and he was spying on him and got captured. And his wife, they lived not far from there, so his wife found out where he was. She went over there and started crying and gnashing of teeth and carrying on. And Ferguson said that he would release him if he had signed a pledge not to take up arms against the king. He said that he'd rather see 20 dead men than one crying woman. So Aaron signed the pledge, and to honor it, he was sent back farther towards the mountains to take care of the Indian situation. And when the Over Mountain men did finally take care of Ferguson at Kings Mountain, Aaron decided that since he signed the pledge with Ferguson, and Ferguson was dead, that no longer in force. So he went back to fight again, and that's his granddaughter married a fellow named John Giles, and who was my great grandfather. And John Giles moved with 3 of his brothers down to he moved to Chambersville. One stayed in Grayson County and one settled over around Westminster. So that was he was my great grandfather. And he's buried, and his wife got buried in the Chamberville Cemetery. So my wife functions in the real. But I'd like to thank some people. Number one, my wife for tolerating me while I waited impatiently to be approved. And Nathan, or chance encounter at the historical meeting up in Anna, we talked about genealogy and ancestors and so forth. And Nathan told me to get my stuff together and send it to him. He'd see if he could help me out. And came to a meeting. Tom Elsie got a hold of me, and that was like a pit bull after the neighbor's cat. And Richard Bonaparte for filling out all the paperwork, crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and it's about time they showed up in.
I would like to say about it. So we started hit it off from the start, and we've had several lunches together, and I forgot which parade you came to in your beautiful car you had.
Oh, yeah.
And we put one of the Patriots who we didn't have a trailer.
Yeah.
I put one of the Patriots that was there that really couldn't walk the parade in the car with him.
Yeah.
What's that car you got?
1946 Packard.
Oh, it looks brand new. Anyway, so I'm sure that the Patriot, the compatriot that was in the car, the compatriot probably talked his ear off too. So it wasn't only me. But the rest of the story here is that my Patriot was over on the other side of the mountains and served as a ordnance sergeant for Captain Severe. Okay, so when I heard all this, I said, we got to get this guy in. So, with that, I'll shut up.
So our last meeting was a dual meeting with the DAR, so we did not approve last month's minutes. So tonight I'm asking for, well, our minutes for September and October have both been posted to the website. Hopefully you'll have a chance to review those. So at this time I ask, do we have any motions to approve the minutes? Yes, sir. Motion approved, Dr. Bob. I'll second. And second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Right, motion passes.
Is that for both months?
Yes, both months. Yes, good question. Yes, for both months. Now for our treasurer's report, Peter Ford, please. Sure.
All right, so this is going to cover for 2 months. So this is the treasurer's report as of November 16th, 2023. Checking account balance at our last meeting, which was the September meeting, was $2,126.52. Since then, we've received $100 in dual membership dues, and our expenditures were as follows. There was a $3 website renewal. That was actually just an adjustment to the prior one. We found out it was a little bit more. And then we made a donation to the Texas SAR Monument Project with amount of $300. There was a SAR archival paper purchase for $20. Christmas cards for veterans, which was $63.52. And that makes our checking account balance at $1,840 exactly. We do have a $5,000 certificate of deposit, which will mature on February 26, 2024. And this is currently earning 4% interest. That's the end of the report.
Let's see, next for veterans activities report, Tom.
Okay, I know y'all are expecting about a 30-minute talk. Give me just a second here, I gotta find the cake. Decided to do something a little different this time. Which usually gets me in trouble. Notice. See anything glowing yet there? No, not yet. Did it shut off?
There. Blank. Yeah, that's great. There it is.
Is it on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Got one on.
Yeah, okay, if you can hit the lights there. I know this is not like me, but this is a yearly report of what we've been doing for the veterans since it was Veterans Day. I thought about this. No, we're gonna watch it. Okay, I gotta say a little bit. He was a waist gunner in a P-17 with a kid. And he got captured, shot down, and captured on his first flight. He was a Korean War veteran, didn't know who he was through DNA, they figured it out. He was born down in down south of Dallas, and they decided to bury him in the cemetery there, National Cemetery. This was just a fun one. We didn't do old 7,200 though. I credit all of that. We are very active in this park right here. This one, read the top statement. What that means is I've got somebody that says, anytime you run out of these coins, I'll buy you some more. Me and my good friend George Bradford back here have been with me to provide this to the bomb and rehab facility, over $800 worth of things that they'd asked for. How many of y'all know about Tunnels Towers? Anybody? Okay. I think the key thing that triggered us there was over 95% of the money goes to the veterans for building homes, etc. And we're doing our 300 Christmas cards. The facility has 200 in the rehab and then 100, Sam, in the home there, the nursing home behind it. Everybody contributed again then. Thank you so much. We exceeded our goal by 40%. So those will go on to next year's please come to this thing on the 16th. It's a very moving thing. We're looking for people to help. We're gonna do something strange. We're gonna form up committees and do some more. That's it.
Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank John Greer for all his veterans activities.
Yep.
For years and years and years. I'd like
I may add, John is gonna be on our committee, okay? He's in the know.
All right, at this time, I'd like to ask Pete McClellan to come up to fill us in on the slates for this upcoming year. Yes, sir.
Well, as everybody knows, we've been busy putting together a slate of officers to serve our chapter for the year 2024. And after much research and persuading, we had some folks that volunteered to their service to help us next year. So as president, Mark has agreed to serve one more year. Thank you. We have a new member of our chapter who's joining the ranks of officers, and that's Bill Taylor. He's going to be our vice president. Andy Nelson is going to take care of the VP of programs. Tom Nelson is going to act as VP of awards. Then we've got Blas Uribe, who's serving again as secretary. Thank you, Blas. At least. And we've got Peter Ford as treasurer. He doesn't want to give up the money. Richard Bonaparte is going to be our registrar again. He's done a great job, and we keep him very busy. I'm going to serve as sergeant at arms, and somebody said that they were going to promote me to lieutenant. I don't know if that's true. Thinking about CAR, I am the liaison, and we're going to have a representative from the Matthew Bolton Society come to our meeting probably in January or February to kind of give us an update of their focus for this coming year, and kind of tell us a little bit more about what it is that they're addressing. Chaplain for this year is Father Andreessen. Webmaster is Carrie Barnett again. Thank you, Carrie. Color Guard Commander is Dr. Bob Milwee, and we appreciate your efforts in that regard. And for Veteran Affairs, as Tom's mentioned, Al Weesey is going to head that up for us, and with the assistance of a Veterans Affairs Advisor, John Greer. So that's the lineup for the slate. We're still open for nominations, and we're going to be voting next month's meeting. So if you would care to serve, or raise your hand and say, I'd like to try a certain position on as an officer of this chapter, please let me know. Pete McClellan. And if anybody has any questions, I can entertain them at this time. Hearing none, I'm leaving.
Is there any other business or announcements from the floor?
Just a quick,
Yes, sir.
quickly, since we got so many guests here tonight, there's a SAR podcast called Revolutionary War Rarities. If anybody's interested, it's about 8 or 9 minute long segments of just different historical things by the SAR. It's on Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. Great.
Thanks, boss.
Who hadn't signed this thing? There's not enough names on here.
If you wouldn't mind signing, Tom will pass around or on the way out. Be wonderful.
This can't, it's just not right. Anybody here? Okay, and then back that way.
So he will pass that around. It will be available after the meeting as well. Apologize for the meeting. It's gone a little bit long, but thank you all so much for being here this evening. For everybody that's able to participate this afternoon, thank you for coming. It's very important. Anybody else have anything to add? Okay. All right, Father Grease. Thanks. Thanks. Thanks, sir.
Please bow your heads for the blessing. Peace of God, which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God and of His Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. The blessing of God Almighty, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost be with you now and remain with you always. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
If you would please remain standing and join me in the recessional. Until we meet again. We're adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.